How much did it cost to finish the inside of this garage? I'll tell you right now. It was $17,842. If that's all you came for, make sure you hit the like button on your way out. But if you want to know more about how those costs broke down and what it entailed, make sure you stay tuned. There's a lot that went into the inside of this garage to finish it. So much that I wrote it down for you guys so I'd remember to go over everything. A couple things I wanted to mention right off the bat that are not going to be included in the cost of this. This loft, that's going to be in one of my other videos. I have the cost breakdown and how I build it and everything in that. So I did not include it with this build. Second is lights and electrical. That varies for pretty much everybody. You may need more, you may need less lights, more electrical needs, whatever it might be. I didn't include it in the cost. And then tools. I didn't include any tools. Most of them are common tools that most folks have. There might be a specialty tool you might want. I bought one when I did the metal. You can check that out in one of my other videos. But otherwise, that's optional for most people because everybody has a different skill set and they have different set of tools as well. And then finally, the furnace, which is up in that corner, that was not included in the build as well. Or not the build, but not included in the cost breakdown. It's in another video that I have. Just check out my channel, you'll see that install too, when I did the furnace and the gas line. And I have the cost breakdown on that video for that install. So with that said, let's get into it here with all the different materials, some accessories, some other things that are required to put these walls in. Right off the bat, we have the first thing that went in, and that was the ceiling. It's all just white panel, steel. And that was one thing that I did not install. I broke down the cost and everything of the ceiling, and it was just much cheaper, in my opinion, to have a contractor do it. I didn't have all the extra help, and it would have required me to rent a lift, and again, just a lot of individuals, because I wanted at least amount of seams as possible. So they're 16 feet pieces or 16-foot sheets. I have very minimal seams because of that. So to pay the contractor, he did a little bit of framing on the ends. Both ends had to be framed, just some 2x4s across to support the steel. The sides were easy. But they did install, all the J trim to hold the steel itself, all the screws, and insulation baffles, which I have a picture of that here, what they installed. But total cost for all materials and labor to do the ceiling itself was $6,000. So the next item on the list, I can't really show you because it's behind all the walls and in the ceiling, and that's just insulation. There's a lot. So I have ceiling insulation, it was blown in, and there's some roll bats that are in the carriers or the truss supports. Those are just shoved up in there to keep that blown in insulation from falling back down. There's wall insulation, obviously, the big bats, and you'll see those in another video if you're curious how I installed those. There's staples to hold that insulation in place, and that's just until you get your girts on. There's poly sheeting that went on, and that was an extra vapor barrier that I put on. And seam tape. So seam tape, just tape all the seams to try to create that uniform vapor barrier, no leaks, no air. And lastly, cans of expanding foam. I used a few cans of it, and that was just around the baseboard, base area. Little cracks and crevices that it was just easier just to spray that foam in and be done. So total cost, of all insulation materials, all labor was done by me, was $5,995. And the next item on the list was lumber. This is all framing lumber. This is all the lumber that went in behind these walls. Basically, it holds these outside materials or outside of the walls in place. And that included girts and, verticals. It included the base and treated lumber that went on the base near the concrete to help avoid, moisture, rot, different things like that. 2x6s, 2x4s, there was 8 foots, 10 foots. So a whole different variety of different lumber that went into the walls themselves. But all that lumber for the entire building to frame the interior was only $902. I say only because I think that's a pretty fair price for the size of this building to frame all the interior. And I did go overkill into, my girts, they were 2x6s in a lot of places. You'll see that in one of my other videos if you take a look at that. So I could have gotten by a little bit cheaper, but again, $902, I thought that was a pretty good deal. The next item on the list is hardware fasteners. So this is screws and nails and everything that pretty much held the framing material up and the walls themselves. I don't have the screws that went in the top steel included in that. That came from the metal former place that I picked up the steel, so I didn't include those screws, but it includes all the other screws that went into framing and holding these wall panels in place. And total cost for all hardware fasteners was $297. So not too bad. It was a lot of screws and a lot of nails. You buy it in bulk, you buy the bigger boxes when you can, and you save a lot of money that way. Now we'll get into some items which I think are a little bit more exciting. Kind of makes it take shape a little bit, and kind of makes all the work worth it, and that's the wall panel steel. So that, as I had mentioned, I got from a steel former or roller, and I was able to pick that up direct from them. So I got all the steel. Let me show you a couple of these transitions here between the steel and the wood. So in the loft area, I got these base pieces here. They actually custom made those ones. They roll down and have a flat edge on the very bottom there. But I thought they looked nice. I know some other places carry them in stock, but I gave them the measurements I wanted, and they just rolled those for me, formed them. And that's in the loft area. So you have those trim pieces. You have some J channel up here towards the ceiling, some in the corner, and then I think this was called Z trim, but these are the transition pieces between these T111 LP Smart siding sheets and the steel itself. And then you have all the screws that were needed. And there were a total of 1,000 screws that I had purchased, and I went through every one of them, putting all the walls up. So this next cost, though, it includes pretty much all the upper half of the wall is what it includes. And total cost for all that was $1,652. And I don't think that was that bad. Again, I did all the labor myself, hanging all those panels up, but it turned out pretty good. There's 58 panels I purchased. I didn't go through all of them. You can kind of see I have some scrap or some extras left over there, just a few. A couple of those are from the ceiling, longer ones. And now we're on to the bottom. So bottom, these are LP Smart siding panels. They look like T111. It pretty much is T111. It's just it's like a particle board, I guess. It's got some glues and some resins in it that really make it moisture resistant. And typically they use them on outside in sheds and different things like that, but I chose to use them on the inside. And I went thick, you know, as thick as they make, and that's 5/8 inch material. I think they do have a 3/8 inch material too, but I wanted to get a little bit heavier. And you can tell when you lean up against the wall, it makes a big difference. So I had to buy 33 sheets of 5/8 inch LP Smart siding to do the whole inside of this garage. And they were not cheap, and they cost a little bit more than the metal costs, but I really like how it all turned out in here. So I have, you know, LP Smart siding panels. I have some trim that I had used, and that was just in various places. And I'll give you an example here, the breaker box. So breaker box, you'll see I use some trim and it matches. That's also LP Smart siding that makes that. I have all the paint that I used on the inside walls included in this cost. I have PVC baseboard trim, and you may have seen this in the other video, but that is solid PVC that I used, and it matches good. I really like the texture of it. It seems to go with the LP Smart siding panels pretty well. I have some casing boards, which I still have yet to paint this. This is just primed. So to frame all that out, that's included in here. And then just like some finish nails for the trim that I had to purchase, and just some finish caulking that I had to buy a couple tubes of to finish and fill all the little holes in the various places. So total for pretty much the lower section, so from the transition of the steel down to the base for all the inside walls, was $2,996. At the beginning of this video, I mentioned the total cost, so now you have it. We went over all the different materials that went into this building. All labor was done by me, other than the ceiling. And I had some help, you know, friends here and there, but for the most part, there was no labor cost involved. So you could save a lot by doing it yourself. It's still a big number. Again, total cost for everything, as I mentioned in the beginning, was $17,842. It cost a lot of money in materials to finish the inside of a garage, and I'm just very, very, very grateful that I'm able to share this with you. Hopefully it helps educate you if you're going to take on a project like this. I'm just very grateful too that this was a project that I was able to do both financially and physically myself. And again, if anything in this video helped you, make sure you hit that like button. And if you want to see more different things I'm going to be doing in the garage, make sure you hit that subscribe and turn your notifications on. That way you can see any of the videos that I put out. I have some cabinets coming. They're going to line this wall that I'm standing on. Not the entire wall. It's a pretty long wall, but I got some nice garage cabinets coming for this. I have a tool cabinet. You might have seen that as we were walking around. I'm going to do a video on that tool cabinet review and how I like that. So stay tuned. And I appreciate all you guys that are subscribed, and take care.